Hi, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is my third Facebook Live event, and I really appreciate you. If you're here for the first time, second, or third time, thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Schwarck, and I'm the president of Clear Intentions International. We are a executive coaching and training company, and our specialty is to assist people with getting unstuck, figuring out where there are blocks, where the blocks are, and really pinpointing them, whether they're conscious or not so conscious. And so that the person or the company can create the amazing life that they really deserve to have. So tonight is all about manifesting. And before I start, I want to ask you a few questions. So tell me, how happy were you before Corona? What was going on in your life? Were you making as much money as you wanted to make? Did you have the kind of relationship that you wanted to have? How healthy were you? Perhaps some of you would say, well, I was pretty happy. I was making a lot of money. I was good. And some of us would say, well, I was happy in this area, but I wasn't so happy in some other areas. So regardless of Corona, once Corona is going to be over, you still are going to find yourself with the same kind of situation that you were in before. You're probably going to make less money. Some of us will make more money. Your relationships will be about the same, but a lot of the things will have not actually changed. So I want to begin with a brief overview of the process of manifestation. And before I do that, I want to talk about actually what is it to manifest, or what does that mean? There are many different definitions of the word manifest, but the simplest would be that a manifestation is something that is put into physical reality. It could be put into physical reality through thought, feelings, it could be beliefs, and it could be, energy, something that's a little bit less tangible. This means whatever you focus on is what you are bringing into reality. You may manifest through a few different things. You can manifest through meditation. You can manifest through affirmations. Those are positive statements. You can manifest by visualizing, and you can manifest by actually taking actions. Most of us are familiar with some of those, and all of these elements can be used to manifest. So think about it. We are putting our energy and creating through meditation, through affirmations, through taking actions, and to visualizing. Now, if you are somebody who has actually meditated or has done some mindfulness, actually could be some prayer and contemplation, just hit the like button, and so that we can see how many of you are actually familiar with that. Now, sometimes the process of manifestation lies in the fact that we are creating consciously, but we're also creating unconsciously. And the unconscious part is hard for us to get to. So the way you need to look at this is, my conscious part wants to lose weight, but my unconscious part wants me to be more comfortable and have something that I do that comforts me. And so then they're in conflict with one another. So just something for you to note, okay? Okay, so let me go through the steps, and I will elaborate on some of them, and then we'll wrap it up. And if you have a question, I will do my best to answer it in the comments. Okay, so the first thing, get really clear on what you want. I want to get very clear on what I want. Oftentimes, when I'm asking my clients, what do you want? The first thing that they answer me is, I don't want this, I don't want that, and I certainly don't want this. So this is a natural thing that happens with humans. You know, we are asked for what we want and we immediately go to, I don't want this, I don't want that, and I certainly don't want that. So in this first step, we want to take some time to get clear. What do I want? I want to drill down. I want to go beyond of what my parents want me to be. You know, there are families where you know, somebody's a police officer, the father was a police officer, grandfather was a police officer. So for generations, there was that expectation of, you know, you have to follow into my footsteps. We are all raised with certain expectations. And it's okay for us to say, well, I can see that expectation, but really what I want to do and who I want to be in life is something different. So as soon as you allow yourself to have this process of thinking of what do I actually want, um, your system will align itself and you will give yourself permission to come up with some answers. Now, in order to be clear of what you want, you need to have a clear intention, and you have to have a clear goal. There's a distinction between goals and intentions. Intentions are something that I have right now. Intentions are in the present, and goals are in the future. So I might have an intention to be healthy and to be vital. That's my intention. And my goal might be that I do yoga 3 times a week. I might have an intention to be abundant in my life. And my goal might be to attract new clients or to set some money aside or, you know, to take care of, you know, to do my budget. Okay. So you can see that they are connected, but they're different. And ideally, when I set my goals or I'm look at what do I want to be clear about my intention. And I want to have my goal be in alignment with my intention. The second step is I want to spend some time, like once I know what I want to visualize the outcome. I want to be as clear as I can with my outcome, the end goal. How do I feel when I have it? What do I look like? What does it smell like? So all the senses, a wonderful way for us to really get connected with this end goal. So if I actually, one of my goals is to lose 2.5 pounds by the end of April. And so I am visualizing what am I going to feel like when I feel lighter, and how am I carrying myself? You know, I might walk differently, and so that I can get connected with this goal as deeply as I can. I actually wrote a book, and in the book I talk a lot about aligning your goals and your intentions. The book is called From Intuition to Entrepreneurship. You can find some info on my Facebook page, or you can ping me, and I will I can let you know how to get a hold of it. The third part of the process is to allow those wonderful things actually to come in, and to remove any obstacles, including incompletions. So what do I mean by allowing things in? If I want to be more abundant, if I want to attract more clients, I need to allow myself to be open. I need to relax and stretch myself and move into this place inside myself that knows that I'm deserving, that I deserve to have more clients, that I am worthy of being abundant. So that's part of the process of allowing. In the process of allowing, I am removing some of the obstacles that are in the way for me to receive things. So we do really throw a lot of obstacles in our ways, and I want to specifically name some of them, and so that you can be aware of it. And when it shows up, you say, "Oh, right, Barbara talked about this obstacle," and sort of avoid it or face it head on and deal with it and move it out of the way, and so that you can allow for whatever you want to come in. So allowing things is also a little bit like shedding old beliefs. It's a little bit like peeling the layers of the onion. Okay, so we have this old belief that I'm not worthy, or I haven't believed that I'm not smart enough. Now, I grew up in Germany, and in Germany, the school system is it's really challenging. And a lot of what I grew up with is, Barbara, you're not really that smart, but if you work hard, maybe you will get somewhere. And first of all, this was a message that I really wasn't so aware of until later in my life. Once I figured it out, I was able to say to myself, "Oh wow, look how I've been falling into place." I have a lot of degrees, and I really felt like I needed to prove myself and work in order to get to places. And at some point, I remember when I got my doctoral degree, I said to myself, "Okay, enough. There's no need to prove myself any longer." So, when we are moving through this process of allowing, we are really slowly letting go of those skins that are no longer serving us, and open up to what we really deserve. So, some of the other obstacles that I want to address are oftentimes our goals don't match our values. So what do I mean by that? We all have values. Perhaps you have taken the time to look at your values, and you can actually identify them. If you haven't, it's a great exercise to do. Values are things that govern your life. They govern your work, whether you really know them or don't know them. If you take the moment to actually identify your values, and then you look at your life and your relationships and your work, you will see that there's a correlation. So when I have a value and my goal is not in line with my value, I'm going to have a hard time following through. Let me give you an example. Years ago, I coached somebody who had about 13 Burger King franchisees. She herself was a vegetarian, and she believed in organic food. And she had a hard time connecting with the idea of growing a business that sold food that she herself wasn't really so fond of. She really had to work with herself and look at other values that she had in order for her to make that work. Another way of looking at this is, if I have a value of wanting to connect with my family, and I do this at dinner time with nice big meals and maybe a glass of wine, and we have this dessert competition going on, and I want to lose weight. Okay, I'm going to have to find a new way to connect with my family and look at this meal piece, because it's going to be in conflict with losing weight. Okay, so it's important that our values are in line with our goals. Okay, let me see what else I want to talk about. Negative self-talk. Okay, this is a huge topic for a lot of us. Some of us, we don't even know how strong and how intense our negative self-talk is. We tell ourselves it's too hard. We tell ourselves it's too complicated. We tell ourselves we're not good enough, and come up with all kinds of obstacles of why we can't have this, particular want. What you need to recognize about this is that when you are in this kind of space, what is actually going on is that you're in the victimhood. And in victimhood, we can't really take responsibility. So when you're in victimhood, the best thing to do is to recognize it and to crawl out as fast as you can, and so that you can actually, take responsibility for yourself and figure out where you want to go. Only when we take responsibility for ourselves can we actually change things. If we blame others, if we blame Corona, or we blame the government or whatnot, our spouses or the weather, it's like we won't be able to really manifest, because it will depend on something on the outside, okay, and not on what I want to do. Along those lines is unworthiness. A lot of us have some sort of broken record around unworthiness. I've been talking a lot about this to my clients and myself. You know, what would it take if I really shut the door on unworthiness? And I wouldn't really ever even consider that, because of course all of us are worthy. Worthiness is not dependent on anything that we do on the outside. Is really dependent on how you feel. Last but not least, actually there's two more things, sorry. I want to talk about the obstacle of incompletions. So incompletions, I can talk about it for a half hour. Incompletions are energy suckers because they sidetrack us. If I'm incomplete about a certain thing, like I remember when I bought my house about 21 years ago, I was starting my business, I bought a house, and I was working full time. And there were a lot of conflicting things going on. And so I decided that I needed to complete a certain part of the renovation of my house before I could take on starting my business or, you know, growing my business. It was just too much incompletions going on. Incompletions could be getting your taxes done, losing weight, calling your mother. You know, incompletions can show up in many different ways. Last but not least, and this is an important one, is the ability to receive feedback. It's an obstacle because a lot of us, we say that we want to receive feedback, but when the feedback actually comes, we really have a hard time with it. So feedback is like a little bit like an AA meeting. You know, you take what works for you and you leave the rest. When we get feedback and we can incorporate it, it's really it's like a great opportunity for us to improve. Okay, so that's all number 3 in the manifestation process. Next, and this might be the step that you've been waiting for, is taking inspired action. What do I mean by inspired action? Inspired action is an action that you actually want to take and that you're excited to take. These are the little micro steps that you will create for yourself. And the smaller the step, the better. Micro steps lead to medium steps, lead to bigger steps. In my presentations, when I talk about manifestation, I talk about 3-foot tosses. What's a 3-foot toss? A 3-foot toss is a toss that I can make that's only about a meter or so, 3 feet, and I don't even really need to stretch myself. Every time that I throw, I can read the basket with no problem. So why a 3-foot toss? A 3-foot toss because it's the sure win, and I can build on my confidence. And so I can make the shot, and I can feel really good about myself. And then maybe later I can have a little bit of a, I stretch a little bit further out, and so that I can feel good about stretching myself and the goals that I am looking to achieve. So take inspired actions. Number 5, make sure that your goals are 50% believable or 50% realistic. Okay, what does that mean? Let's say I have a goal, and I told you already that I want to lose 2.5 pounds in the next month. And I told you my goal was 25 pounds in the next 4 weeks. And you would say to me, okay, Barbara, that's really totally unrealistic. And how you're actually going to achieve that. So we want to make sure that the goals are realistic. I was talking earlier, I was explaining this to somebody, and I was sharing with them that years and years and years ago, I actually hired a coach myself, and my goal was to triple my income. And my coach told me, why don't we, double your income, because that's a realistic goal. And the way that you can frame it for yourself is you can say, I want to lose at least 2.5 pounds or more, or I can say I want to double my income or more. So that leaves room for more, and you don't have to limit yourself. But start out with something that's realistic, because you want to be successful at this and you want to feel good about it. Okay, moving to number 6. Number 6 is a little bit of a challenging concept. This is the concept of 100% involvement in your goal, and 100% detachment. Okay, so let me say this again. It's 100% involvement and 100% detachment. What do I mean by that? When I am fully engaged in all the things that I need to do in order to move forward with my goal, I have my vision and I have my micro steps. I am 100% involved. When I'm 100% attached, I am sort of have this tunnel vision, and all I can see is I want my Mercedes-Benz. It needs to be white. It needs to be 1999. I have my particular model, needs to be this particular way. I'm not really allowing for anything greater to come in. For those of you who are spiritual or you perhaps believe in a higher power, for me, this is the part where I partner up with the higher power, with God, with the universe. When I say I am 100% detached, I'm allowing for the possibility of greater things to come in. Greater things meaning maybe I didn't even know that there was this great model out there, or maybe maybe there's two cars that are available to me. I don't know, or maybe 2.5 pounds is not the right amount for me to weight to lose. Maybe it needs to be a little less or a little bit more. So it's almost like, imagine that my goal is my wrist, and I'm holding on to my wrist, and this is all I have. I am attached to my goal. There's nothing, there's no other things that can come in. And the moment that I'm detached and I'm open, all kinds of things can come my way. And so we want to be a little bit fluid with that. Okay, so that's number 6. I have 3 more for you. And then I'm going to give you a few tips. Okay, so number 7 is you want to evaluate your outcome and you want to make adjustments as needed. Okay, that seems pretty simple. I want to evaluate my outcome and I want to make adjustments as needed. So here's where the micro steps come in, and they're really handy. And you want to look at your micro steps and you want to say, okay, how did that go? Did I actually get the ball in my basket and I did my 3-foot toss, or did I miss it and I need to make some adjustments? So evaluation is important. You might want to, if you have a coach, talk with your coach. If you have a friend or you have an accountability partner, you can talk with them and see where it's going. And of course, based on where you're going towards or the results that you're having, it will also give you some feedback. Number 8, celebrate your wins and acknowledge yourself. Super important. We are a little bit of a slave driver, and some of us at least, and we're like, go, 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 go. But we forget to say thank you. We forget to acknowledge ourselves. We forget to celebrate. Actually, I would love it if those of you who are watching, or even if you're watching later, if you could put some of the way that you celebrate yourself in some of the comments. So how do you celebrate? It's important that you acknowledge your small wins. Perhaps you got out of bed this morning at an earlier time. Yay you. That's a win. Deserves to be acknowledged. Perhaps you pushed yourself off the table, and instead of having 2 servings, you only had 1. Yay. So no matter how small really the goal is, acknowledge yourself and celebrate yourself specifically for what you did in order to accomplish that particular goal or step. Last but not least, and this is important to me, if you are somebody who's a spiritual person and you're working with the universe or with God or your soul or however you want to call it, I always ask for my goals to be for my highest good or the highest good of all concerned. And this is for me to sort of push the send button and say, okay, God, I am not the knower of all things. if there is some higher purpose that you have in mind, or something that I don't know, or some assistance that you want to bring forward, please do, because I am open to that. I am open to spiritual assistance, and I want to know. My experience is when I have opened myself up to spiritual assistance, uh, the goals have been matched, even bigger, richer, wiser, and it's always been like the perfect thing for me. So I encourage you to consider that, to ask for things to be for your highest good or the highest good of all concerned.